international news of Lisa Luciard. I am so excited to tell you, I just saw our beautiful president in Poland said that our last hope is, I'm so excited. This is Lisa Luciard, International News, but our beautiful president in Poland said our last hope is Christianity. And it's our new covenant, and he's right. Poland, all EU should follow after Poland's rules and regulations about immigration. And America, you should also follow that paradigm. I'm excited to see that finally they see, and our beautiful Miss Levette has said that the Democrat and Republican and our beautiful First Lady, she said it's unity. And that's what I said in 2016, in 2020, you can see a Rise to God's Truth on the outside cover. It says, and the inside cover, it's on Amazon, a Rise to God's Truth. The way we're going to save America is that the Democrat and Republican come together and realize that we need a great force of freedom and truth of the Judeo-Christian nation, as the Polish president said. That's how we're going to save EU and America. But these are Judeo-Christian nations. There's nothing that we can go against. You cannot, as Spinoza said, you cannot change a country's heart. Otherwise it's destroyed. That's what happened to our beautiful Cuba. In the 50s, it was like a small USA. But let's get to the point today. I am grateful that they finally see that they need to come together in truth and reliability of the resilience of what you took in your agreement. Each one of us, each EU country, that's Judeo-Christian nation, and America, you made a covenant when you came and you got your land, whether you realize it or not. But I see our beautiful Miss Levette has put everything there and lined it out perfectly, and under President Trump and the team, that we need to get all the criminals out of the immigrants that are criminals and the illegals that are criminals. We need to work together on that. And those all have to be out and obsolete, because when you don't have safety, you don't have life. That's the first thing. I'm a first international president advisor. My name is Lisa Lucia Arden. I'm so excited because I can see they're all working together. And that's what we need to do. Is our beautiful country, America, 80% believe that we need to protect Minnesota and protect our nation and take out all the criminals and allow to work with the locals in a peaceful way, in unity. And that's why it says go undercover, so they can't see, so it riles everybody up in each country, each state, each community, and find where the criminals are. Because when you don't have crime, you have life. There's hidden crimes because of the geopolitical powers of migration, immigration. And immigration, I believe 1 out of every 4, and I believe it's 1 out of every 3 in Europe, and 1 out of every 4 in America is used as human trafficking. And it's just not, there's all forms of human trafficking with geopolitical powers. And that's what they did with the fentanyl. It all relates. And that's a war of the people. It was 100,000 that died of fentanyl last year. Not 70,000, 100,000. This is very terrible. And 1 million since 2000 people have died in America. That is a war on America. That is a war on EU. That's why it says all EU places have to protect their borders. That's why I came even to the place I am now. I was called to tell them, even though the lay people don't know this, that I told the leaders, and they heard. And they moved fast to protect all their borders. Especially now, all other borders will be protected so they come into other areas. But I'm so excited, I'll repeat, just like Catherine said, 80% USA agreed to protect America. And let ICE go in and protect, because there's many, many hidden crimes. They saw in fraud through medicine. Fraud. And you'll find that in each state because there's geopolitical powers of the immigrants they use, of cartels, of geopolitical powers of nations and other nations that come in and other peoples of groups. There's not only the 9 cartels that are billionaires, there's also smaller cartels, and also even the people within the companies, as we saw in Minnesota, are criminals, and they have to be found, otherwise a country can't flourish. You can take so many statistics in PhD, you can take so many case studies, but that's really sometimes only for a small group. It's really not all the crevices in the streets, in the businesses, in the rooms of the secret hidden crimes. Safety is always first. And as I told you, and I know America is starting to wake up, and EU is too, in this regard, because they're awoken, many are awoken, is that this was a pre-planned thing to take over Western civilization. In 2019, I had a vision of Jesus with a Russian hat and Mary and Jesus with a Russian hat. And I heard that there was going to be war. They've been preparing for war for years. Russia's been preparing for a war against us. And with China, but I know because I studied China with a geopolitical specialist with China for years. You can see in my book, Arise to God's Truth. But in 2011, I showed how there's division under the secondary source proven by dialectic secularization, reason, order, and religion. They used morality and immorality, and it was a force of evil coming in to try to destroy the beauty of life of these Judeo-Christian nations. That was written by Pope Benedicto and Habermas, and I used it as a secondary source. And I showed that the economy it was from. I showed it the problems Obama was doing. And even the other president before that, what they did. And when I came back from Rome to write that letter, they tried to kill me, and I came back to life many times. I've had much counterterrorism. It's terrible. And we just saw that, the terrorism of our beautiful Russia that I love. But he has taken up the defilement of his own country, of his own hands, of his own heart, that he was a believer and wants to defile countries, and he wants to take them for his own good. And as most of his country is deteriorating. But if you look it up, I looked up who's the richest man in EU, or richest woman, and richest man. One of them was Putin. This all relates for America. They have to see, America people have to see, this is a pre-planned thing to take over Russia. Russia wants to work with China and the Islamic regime, and that's why China came over to Iran to take it over, because they want to take over the freedom of life. And the Islamic regime needs to be cut out. That 45 years ago, that was a free land under a king. We don't want that for America and EU. And the American people realize that's why we have to come to unity and peace. And that's why I asked in my books, In God's Power, America Save Your Legacy, written in 2024, In God, Our Miracle. In God First, Our Miracle. This is not some sermon, just like our beautiful Polish president says. This is, hope are things that are going to happen when you have faith. That's what hope, but that's what faith is too. But we know Him alone, He has hope that passes all understanding, the president of Poland, because He has followed the justice. Because when you do justice, you get justice. When you do the highest justice, you get the highest justice. And that's what the 80% American is doing in unity. Just like our beautiful First Lady said, it's unity. And that's why I said the 10 Commandments is unity when we seek after that. To love God with all your heart and soul. But that's the highest justice. That's where these laws have been written, through the basic mentality and ethics of the scripture. This isn't anything to do with a preaching sermon. These are facts and history. Where did they get their information? How did they exist? These Judeo-Christian nations, EU. They did it out of the love of God and the highest justice. Of course, there have always been some crimes, but they balanced it. But now, unfortunately, they gained all their love and even opened the doors to the immigrant. But the poor immigrants, many are used as a human shield. Just like those protesters, unfortunately, that are bringing guns, that's what the news said, to these protesting, and are paid off, just like Black Lives Matter people. They were paid off to start trouble by, unfortunately, with Soros's involved, our beautiful Soros's that made money off of the exchange of the currency when England lost its strength and its pound. And here he comes and tries to ruin our country and tries to buy all the radio stations. You have to be careful. And Russia, I heard, also owns the radio stations in EU. You have to be careful. So China is giving all the monies to Russia because they're buying their oil. In Taiwan, in Brazil, in Turkey, you've got to stop buying it because you're feeding money to do death. Your hands are on death. They need to be stopped. We need to put sanctions on those areas where they give monies. No more EU. Do not buy any more oil from Russia. And this is the same thing for us. We cannot allow the protesters to control our nation under Islamic regime or any other immigrants that are criminals, that are the cartels. They're all working together. It's a hierarchy. Russia, China, Iran, the cartels, they use the immigrants as a human shield like Hamas did Palestinians. But unfortunately, I didn't know this until later, the Palestinians many don't want peace. That's why their Muslim countries don't want to take them in. I didn't know that, forgive me. And we should not point fingers at Netanyahu. He's protecting EU and America because those countries are enforced by Iran's money. And again, I'll repeat, America. Unfortunately, our beautiful China. Those are my people. I lived with them for 20 years in San Marino and served them. That's why they left China, because they knew that they couldn't live in a way of freedom. But the problem is that all businesses that are CCP owned in America, we have to cut off. And we can't have any land or foods, and watch all manufacturing is owned by China because they're forced to follow the CCP. That's the same thing with the Muslim, unfortunately. There might be a good leader, a Muslim, that has a good intention, but he'll be blackmailed and forced to follow the Islamic regime. That's why there should be no Sharia law, because it doesn't fit. And the culture doesn't fit in America or in the Judeo-Christian nations. You can make new laws to protect these covenants that you had. Each country had a covenant of Judeo-Christian nation to serve God, the God Most High. Don't serve any other gods. That means G-O-D-S, the lowercase. That's like serving the immigrants' culture. You should never. And if there's so many of them like they have them in England, you still need to make laws. Just because there's a lot of them, that doesn't mean that they're going to take over your nation. And there should be laws for having many children. They're using your country as a social money. They get in, they come in free, then they use the social services, then they try to get leadership, then they try to get states and countries, and then they say they want to kill all people that are not Muslim. Correct? This is the Islamic regime. And that's why I believe no Muslims should be able to vote in America. That you know that they're Muslim. No, they should not vote in America because of this reason. And if you're going to allow them to vote and they're citizens, but the ones that have green cards and the ones that are not legal should not vote because they want to vote. I heard the left because they want to take out our country because they say that the left is ignorant. And they say that the right, which are many Democrats now, the Democrats, the House and Congress are coming together in brilliance to save our country and realize none of it is infallible. Whether you're Democrat or Republican, you have to do the highest justice to save America. And that's why I pray for Canada, our beautiful, beautiful Canada. We need to come together to the table in reconciliation because they owe a lot of money, unfortunately, to USA and China debt. But they can't go with China because China will come and get them in the 10 to 30 years. We'll take them over and it'll be bad contracts, not unless they make it with Bitcoin, but still. Because there's inflation with the currency. But I want to tell you that they should not allow offices to go into Canada. Because those offices, why should he allow China to build companies when there's many people to come and take the jobs then? They don't have enough protection of military like America, even though many countries are coming. Are you with me? Even though many countries are coming to America to build their companies in America so they save on tariffs. We have very sophisticated military and now AI businesses that will be able to check many things, but Canada doesn't have all that. I do not recommend for China to come into all your offices that control your computer systems. China's not coming in to control our computer systems. They're coming in to build a couple businesses or some businesses so they don't have the highest tariffs. But I would be careful because we need to put sanctions on China because they're giving so much money to Russia that's having the war and killing people every day, 30,000 every month, 30,000, 28,000, 27,000. President Trump said it. So Canada should come to the table, our beautiful Canada that I love, come to the table back with America because they should have China come and build the offices of controlling all their technology. Their people are just as qualified and more than China, and then they want to make big trade business with China. No, my love. Canada, I know you want to save your country, but that's the wrong way. Do not let them come in. Do not let the police come in. The police will set up places, and the next thing you know, then they'll control you to 10 to 30 years. You work with us, come back to the table. Ask for a better negotiation, a better deal than China would give you with America. Ask America for a better deal, a more reasonable, competitive price than China, and I bet you'll get it. This has all to do with all our states, our nations. Every state, every community has to have undercover local work with the local police to find the crimes. That's why some of the countries are deteriorating in the morality of the children, and there's many crimes. I don't even want to say the crimes against young women and young children. And where are all the children? There's 250,000 children or something, or 300 lost in EU, but they say 66% is from runaway. I saw that yesterday online. We need to protect the children in America. Tom Hogan is looking for them now, and they found 67,000, but we still need to interview all those that were brought into the adoption agencies without vetting or without interviewing. And you know how that happened? All that? The open borders. There should be no open borders because of the geopolitical powers now. And that's why our country, America, realizes geopolitical powers now. They were using the people to come in, and all the criminals with open borders Biden and Kamala, and I don't believe that was Biden, and that's what they're saying. It wasn't Biden. He died. It wasn't Biden. That Obama and other elite communists were controlling America. But the open borders, they let everybody in. It's not like 20 years ago they just wanted a life when Reagan, was president and wanted to integrate business to help America and the immigrants. They let all these people in. And then we never had that problem 20 years ago with the heavy, heavy drugs. Of course, we always had problems with other drugs, but not like fentanyl. It's 100 more times more powerful than heroin. And now they use it as a war tool, and that's what our states, the American people need to realize. We're going to come in unity like we are. But the newscaster said, American citizen was killed. Someone just said that on the social media, presented it this way. It's terrible that the corporate censorship of the news said American citizen was killed. American citizen was killed! He shouldn't have been there starting trouble. Do you know how many people have been killed for fentanyl? Because we allowed the cartels in China work together and let all the drugs in. And there's 100,000 that died last year. But the American people see this. They said 80%, and I believe too, it's just like Black Lives Matters. 85, in some places 95, wanted the police there and didn't agree with Black Lives Matters. Those were paid protesters. So let us come together in unity and truth. We have everything at our fingertips. Now we see the Democrat and the Republicans need to come together in truth and reconciliation, just like our Ms. Levette said, and that we have to take care of all the crimes of illegal immigrants and legal immigrants, and even people that are part of a nation that considers itself as citizens, as Somalians. And I believe that some of these people that have only been there for a certain amount of time, and depending on what crime they have, should be brought back to their country. This is very serious, even if they are citizens. This is very serious. We can't allow the geopolitical powers of evil, like President Reagan would say, to overcome our country. But we're not. We're doing a great job. We're doing excellent. We have to come into unity to work together. And that's what President Trump and the team has asked, that we want to protect our borders and protect safety, economy, which we're doing excellent. We are strong. We are not. We are strong. And just like President Trump said in Davos, we're the hottest nation. And that's true. He covered himself because when other big nations, UK, Spain, and Russia, when they collapsed, they didn't cover themselves. We covered ourselves. We have innovation in bringing back small and large businesses in America and also international businesses. We also have our own stable coin that is the measure of the dollar. For every dollar we have a stable coin. Plus we have Bitcoin, which I asked for the currency to be in America to be Bitcoin, to one of our currency be Bitcoin. I asked that years ago. I studied under Jim Rickers and Tika. Those are people, for many years I've studied under them in Stansbury and learned about many things. My name is Lisa Lucia Arden. I'm a political analyst. I am the first presidential international president advisor. I wanted to be vice president, but I give my information happily. But I'm so excited because when I saw that, what Mrs. Levette said, and thank you so much for doing such a beautiful job, and God bless you and the team, that 80% of America agreed. It's time now to take up our blessings. The blessings, and President Trump and the team is protecting all borders. We're finding all the trafficking. We're finding the crimes that have to be cut down. And these criminals, much of these criminals are genogram. They're genogram, and they're generational For example, they saw that there should be no satanic worshiping. Those are generational cults that do crimes of human trafficking of children. And there should be no praying in the streets. Those streets are not the Muslim streets. Those streets are your streets, the Judeo-Christian nation that bore blood, sweat, and tears now and in the past. You are a great nation under God's power in New Covenant. And the Old Covenant, they come together. And God has never forsaken you. We can't deny there has been problems, but we need to fix them, and we cannot stop. We're responsible for the responsibility that God gave us of these great lands that your families and your legacy has built through the miraculous love of life itself. But there is divine nature, and every created being or ideas, even if the man created it, has a certain intention, God intentions, and people talk about molecular intention that has the highest justice. And I'm so grateful that the American people are in unity, that EU is in unity with America, and Canada is now, I pray, has that authority to make the great choice of coming back to the table with America. And God will give them the resources to pay back those debts. They're a great nation with many commodities that haven't been excavated, Canada. And now we see China just found a gold mine over $83 billion worth. They said they found it. China doesn't need any more money, and that should be that's all the proof that no one needs to do war through force and death and killing and defilement. Every nation has enough commodities and enough business in its ground and soil and in the minds and heart of the people when God created it. They don't need to do war anymore. And they never needed to do war anymore. Never there should have been war. But it proved to show that we have all we need in each nation to sustain ourselves. Thank you so much, American people, and EU people, in Canada, Australia, and all the nations to come together in peace and reconciliation. It's your choice. Life or death. Of course you want life that brings life and freedom of the well-being, authentic purpose for your legacy, your past legacy, your present legacy, your future legacy, and the very future legacy you have given life to in your highest justice, the God in you. Thank you so much. This is Lisa Luciarden. Have a beautiful day.